They call self-definition nihilism. They call laughter danger. They call sexuality chaos. They call visions extremism. But listen, these are not the signs of meaninglessness. They are the proofs of life. Defining yourself is not nihilism. It is flow. Flow is life-affirming. Flow is truth. Flow is the river that refuses the dam. Traditionalism, in the authoritarian sense, is a closed system. It admits nothing new. No fresh voices, no diversity, no imagination. And in every closed system, entropy wins. Nietzsche warned us, nihilism begins when the highest values devalue themselves. When tradition is worshipped for tradition's sake, meaning collapses into empty repetition. A culture that refuses change chooses its own death. And so the authoritarian project always ends the same way. Stasis, decay, collapse. Violence becomes the only way to keep the dead system shuffling forward. That is the true nihilism. Hannah Arendt told us, when fact and fiction blur, when lies become the texture of reality, total control becomes possible. Authoritarianism thrives not only on brute force but on distortion. Violence is not just bullets. Violence is deprivation. Every eviction, every denial of healthcare, every dollar drained into bombs instead of bread, this is violence. It is the slow death of millions, rationalized as order. They tell us we are violent extremists for wanting to live freely. But the real extremists are the ones draining entire nations into the coffers of billionaires and generals. The real nihilism is the economic machine that treats people as fuel. Why do authoritarian regimes fear humor? Why do they police sexuality? Why do they ban psychedelics? Because all three are gateways to Gnosis, states of truth and freedom that break the spell of control. Humor punctures the mask of power. A single joke can dissolve the aura of a dictator. That is why satire is banned, comedians are silenced, and laughter itself is feared. Truth wears a clown mask so it can slip past the guards. Sexuality is flow embodied. To racists, sexuality is about breeding, not pleasure. Bodies become resources for the state. But real sexuality is self-definition, expression, and joy. That's why it terrifies the authoritarian mind. Because it reminds us our bodies are our own. Psychedelics dissolve walls. They don't create violence, they create vision. They reveal that borders are illusions, that unity is real, that consciousness is fractal. And so they are criminalized. Not because they destroy society, but because they might awaken it. Terence McKenna told us, the plants and fungi are teachers, reconnecting us to the ecosystem of meaning. And authoritarianism cannot survive that lesson. So let us be clear. Flow is life. Stasis is slow violence. They outlaw laughter, pleasure, and visions, not because these things harm society, but because they awaken it. Defining yourself is not nihilism. It is courage. It is truth. It is how we keep the river flowing. How do we do the most damage to narcissist authoritarians and their closed systems? Not by playing their game, not by using the master's tools. Audre Lorde warned us, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. We must build something different. Culture as sabotage, make humor contagious, stage art that makes their myths absurd, throw parties the way generals throw parades, use music, drag, dance, and satire as a form of warfare that builds joy instead of fear, alternatives to their institutions. When we practice mutual aid, we make scarcity propaganda ring hollow. When we run community health hubs and peer support, we prove survival is collective. When we teach media literacy, epistemic hygiene, and critical play, we protect people from propaganda. Rituals of Gnosis. We don't need illegal tools to reach Gnosis. Breathwork, drumming, dance, storytelling, these are ancient, legal, and powerful. We can create laughing vigils, art seed drops, improvised mythic theater. Every moment of altered perception breaks the monotony of control, policy pressure. We push for psychedelic research and safe medical access. We decriminalize visions, not by hiding but by advocating. We demand transparency in how power labels extremists, so projection cannot rule. Foucault reminds us, power produces subjects, but resistance lives inside those relations. We cannot escape the system by fleeing. We escape it by becoming ungovernable within it. So here is the new myth. We laugh until the statue cracks. We dance until borders blur. We love until control looks absurd. We dream until their categories collapse. This is not naive optimism. It is insurgent tenderness. It is the long, messy warfare of joy against entropy. So get weird, get loud, get freaky, laugh until the mask falls off, love until their laws dissolve, dance until the patrols look like ghosts, because flow is life, stasis is violence, and gnosis is the one thing they cannot survive.